you go bankrupt. And there's a penalty for bankruptcy. Your credit sucks. You're very difficult to get a loan. Very, very difficult for people to trust you again. You have to earn that trust back. And even then, it's always going to be a stain on your record.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's an idiot. He loves the fame and he loves the money. So ultimately, if you're just that money hungry and that fame hungry, you're gonna just do whatever. You don't care what it is.
So Joe Rogan just went off on Jake Paul, claiming all these lawsuits and rigged fight rumors have completely ruined his boxing credibility for good. People are saying Paul's whole record is just smoke and mirrors now, built on hand-picked opponents and marketing rather than real skill. Even when this legal mess gets sorted out, the damage is already done. Combat sports run on respect and authenticity, and once people start questioning if your fights are real, your victories become meaningless. Your legacy turns into a punchline. That reputation follows you forever, way past any money you made.
Because there's a price that you pay that is not worth.
The whole fake fight drama went absolutely crazy after that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua situation, with people breaking down every single moment looking for proof something was off. Fans couldn't wrap their heads around how Jake managed to go the distance with Joshua when Francis Ngannou got dropped way faster, despite having way more power and experience. What started as this massive showdown between an internet celebrity and a legitimate former heavyweight king turned into this conspiracy theory goldmine. People were digging through training clips, analyzing weird betting patterns, and listening to analysts who swore the whole thing was pure entertainment disguised as competition.
We're a week away from Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What have we got here?
As I look at it, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, because we in the business of boxing. That right there is just exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight, but yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in a fight. I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have a hell of a lot of fun.
Look, here's the thing everyone's talking about. Most experts are calling this matchup completely ridiculous when you really break down what we're looking at here. The gap in experience, physical size, and professional background between Paul and Joshua is just staggering. You've got this internet personality with a dozen fights under his belt trying to square off against someone who's been trading punches with the world's most dangerous heavyweights for years. People in the know are saying this looks more like a payday setup than any kind of real test, which just adds more weight to all the speculation that we're watching theater instead of actual boxing.
Jake Paul, fake Paul I call him, against Anthony Joshua. Massive unit, two-time world champ, still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the Bois knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on and then got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
No.
Simon Jordan really stirred things up when he dropped this bomb about Anthony Joshua supposedly being able to finish Jake Paul whenever he wanted, but choosing not to. Jordan's theory is that Joshua had to make the fight last long enough to keep Netflix happy, not the boxing fans. He's saying Joshua's skill level, power, and ring intelligence were so far ahead that ending it quickly would have killed the whole show and disappointed the streaming audience. So instead, they allegedly needed to create rounds, build some fake drama, and manufacture tension to justify that massive platform and worldwide viewership. Jordan didn't back this up with evidence, but his take matched exactly what tons of fans were already thinking. When streaming giants and huge money get involved, the entertainment side might quietly become more important than who actually wins, making everyone wonder what they really watched.
Look at it. Jake Paul posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy.
That's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because Well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? You watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasised, listen guys, take this as long as you can?
Anthony Joshua didn't step, irrespective, I sat to all these guys, whether it be Spencer or Paul Smith, talking about the fact that Jake Paul couldn't run, didn't have the footwork to be able to move around the ring and get away from Anthony Joshua.
Ryan Garcia jumped on social media right after everything went down with this pretty harsh reaction that got the whole boxing community buzzing. Garcia posted his respect for Paul's performance while throwing in this pointed comment about Gervonta Davis that really turned heads. His post basically said Tank Davis would have hurt Paul way worse and probably ended things even more brutally than Joshua managed to do. Most boxing insiders are backing Garcia's opinion here, agreeing that what we witnessed wasn't anywhere close to elite level competition. Even now that the dust has settled, people are still arguing that putting Anthony Joshua in the ring with Jake Paul was a mistake that never should have been approved.
I mean, look, fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one,
making these concerns even bigger, Oscar De La Hoya weighed in about Jake Paul's previous bout with Mike Tyson, straight up claiming that fight was completely scripted too. De La Hoya's take is that Paul basically bought himself a victory by paying Tyson to take it easy, and he pointed out how obvious it was that Tyson wasn't fighting with anywhere near his usual killer instinct. De La Hoya made it clear this wasn't just a one-time thing either, suggesting Paul's entire career has been built on these kinds of arranged outcomes.
About how staged this fight was. I do believe it was scripted. What? And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. What? Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record. What? And it was sanctioned. What? So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? Bruh. For what? For your own personal satisfaction? Bruh. I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, like you say you want to be,
Tyson keeps saying the fight wasn't fake, but his performance left fans feeling totally let down and wondering if this should even count as a real part of boxing history. When you're talking about someone with Tyson's reputation and skill level, seeing him fight without that legendary aggression was impossible to ignore, creating serious doubts about whether anything we saw was legitimate.
Who Kid, recently broke some news about how he spoke to one of the Paul brothers and that they had an agreement that no one was supposed to get severely injured and that the fight had to last at least through the 6th round. As I was watching the fight, I'm like, damn, it looked like Mike came out a little hot, and I saw him do this one thing where he kept biting his gloves. I know there was a big age discrepancy here, right? Jake Paul being 27, Mike Tyson being 58, of course. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is he biting onto his glove to hold back? Because it looked like he had something there. Even some of the jabs Mike threw, I'm like, he stopped his punch. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist here, but thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if Mike completely exerted himself or he just got really tired.
I don't know about it being rigged or not, but I do feel bad for people who really are invested in the sport.
You want to know why I also think it might be a bit rigged? When the fight ended, Jake Paul kept calling out other fighters, and he kept referencing, you guys need me, you guys need me, and I'm realizing he's meaning his money. So if boxers and people in the industry know that, hey, if we go get with Jake Paul, we'll make X amount, I wouldn't
remove it completely. During that Jake versus Tyson event, people really focused on these weird rule changes that seemed designed to help Jake succeed. The biggest red flag was this contract detail that supposedly hit Tyson with financial penalties if he knocked Paul out too quickly. This made everyone question whether money and contracts were deciding the winner instead of actual fighting ability.
Y'all already know I'm mad about this fight. I really wasn't even going to talk about it because I already felt like it was a setup. But when Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, it really just confirmed and solidified everything. So, Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, and I'm going to read it to social media. So, it says the rules for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight are designed to favor Jake Paul. These include: the rules are extremely favorable to Jake Paul. The contract will incentivize Mike Tyson to lose and give Jake Paul an opportunity to choose himself as a winner. The first stipulation in the contract will punish Tyson for knocking out Jake because he is paid on a sliding scale per round. If Tyson knocks Jake out in the first round, he would receive no money. If he knocks him out in the second round, he would only make a small amount of cash. For Tyson to make the most money, he needs to survive all 8 rounds, which means avoiding knocking Jake Paul out. If the fight goes to a split decision, it favors Jake Paul because the judges have to be approved by Jake Paul. I'm gonna let y'all read that. I knew it was a setup. Because you know what? Mike Tyson had a lot of open air opportunity to smash Jake Paul. And he didn't do it. And I'm just like,
David Hay brought up another angle, thinking that Paul might be making a huge mistake by assuming he can handle a real elite fighter. Hay's point is that Paul has gotten comfortable with these allegedly predetermined fights and thinks he can coast through Joshua the same way. But here's the problem. Joshua has apparently turned down any scripted deals and wants this to be a completely legitimate fight. Hay explained that this creates a massive reality check for Paul, because now he's dealing with a genuinely skilled and dangerous opponent instead of someone who might go easy on him for money or publicity.
Is Anthony Joshua going to go into this fight with Jake Paul with the same mindset after seeing him fight on a beat on points a 58-year-old Mike Tyson? My opinion is no. I think he feels zero fear in this fight. He's in a unique situation where he's going into a boxing ring with someone he doesn't believe deserves to be there. So is he going to be paying the price in training? Is he going to be getting those early nights? Is he going to be pushing himself in sparring to get the very best out of himself, like he did for the Ngannou fight? Unknown. I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll want to risk having any hard sparring just in case he gets injured. Because if he gets injured, he misses this $75 million payday against someone he doesn't believe will be good enough to be a legitimate sparring partner for him. You know what I mean? So it's a very unusual situation. Very, very unusual. And, you know, obviously all the advantages are in Anthony Joshua's favor, except this one, except the mindset factor. Jake Paul has nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain. Him reaching round 3, round 4 is a win, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion. If Anthony Joshua doesn't detonate his right hand or a jab off of Jake Paul in the first 30 seconds, minute, and put him in problems, you know, some people would feel that he's underachieved or he let boxing down. You know, people don't consider Jake Paul a real boxer because he's got such a big profile on social media and he's got that background that he's come from. But he's dedicated himself to the sport for the
past half decade or so. Critics like Chael Sonnen are delivering these absolutely brutal breakdowns of Jake Paul's fighting ability, and they're not holding anything back. Sonnen makes it crystal clear that there's absolutely no comparison between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua whatsoever. Even with all these training videos flooding social media, Jake still looks like he's learning the basics rather than competing at a professional level. Sonnen's emphasis is on how the footage actually exposes his lack of experience, showing someone who's still trying to master fundamental techniques instead of preparing to face a proven former heavyweight champion. The difference in skill, punching power, and understanding of ring strategy is so obvious that Jake isn't even close to ready for someone of Joshua's quality.
Because people do this all the time. They'll be real dicks about it. Some guy will look great on the mitts. They'll go, well, mitts doesn't count. It's like, well, it kind of does count. If I have you working out on the mitts from a year ago, and I have a new tape today, and I can juxtapose those, I actually can see some timing. I actually can see some speed. I actually can see some footwork. I can see some power, and I can compare it. Now, Jake is in a wildly difficult spot. Boxing is unlike, by example, track and field. Track and field is all about personal records. You do not need to be faster than the guy standing next to you. Right? Now you can win and you can get trophies on that, but it's not actually your goal that your coach is working on you with. You just today want to be faster, throw further, jump higher than a previous version of yourself. Boxing doesn't work that way. It is straight. It doesn't matter how good you are. It is 100% comparative to how good is this guy. I understand that. But as human beings, we have to start somewhere. And I think there are many things that are going to be wins for Jake. I do not subscribe to the idea. Now he does. He will not agree with me, but an older version of himself, as he looks back, will see that the Chael makes a very fair point. There's a number of things that are going to be wins or not for Jake. Now, Joshua's got one. Crush that man, get your hand raised. That's it. Well, I don't see it like that for Jake. I don't see it like that. And I know you guys don't either. I know you don't, because so many people that are predicting this fight won't even happen. Or that are predicting if this fight happens, these guys are going to be nice to each other. What does this word exhibition mean? Right? There's all these things where you're trying to take away, and you're not necessarily wrong. If Jake...
Even showing up would be considered a victory. Despite all the drama and controversy, real money is being wagered on this fight, and the betting activity has become its own source of controversy around this Paul versus Joshua situation. Regular fans, casual gamblers, and some celebrities have been placing serious bets on different outcomes, which just adds more questions about whether we're watching genuine sport or elaborate entertainment. But Rogan's reaction to Jake Paul getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua was surprisingly balanced, and gave credit where he thought it was earned. Rogan said he was actually impressed that Jake survived 6 complete rounds against a proven heavyweight destroyer like Joshua. He reminded everyone that critics tend to forget the enormous difference in experience, power, and ring intelligence between someone who started on YouTube versus a former world champion. While the knockout was pretty much guaranteed, Rogan highlighted that lasting that long demonstrated real toughness, commitment, and serious physical conditioning, even though it couldn't make up for the skill gap.
Look, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
He knocked him
dead.
the fuck out.
And
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like, there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
It hasn't, yeah.
He's also nuts, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that he's willing to fight the 2-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy. And he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Yeah, his movement in that fight was crazy.
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
He was really keeping him moving around the whole ring, and then
you can't afford to get tired. That's the thing is, like, he gets tired in a lot of his fights in the later rounds. You should really sort that out, because if he had a much bigger gas tank, like if he was training with like some of these elite world-class strength and conditioning coaches and just worked on his cardio, he'd be beating way more guys.
You think so?
Absolutely, 100%. Rogan gave Paul credit for showing heart during the fight, but he made it very clear that absorbing punishment like the shot that broke his jaw in 2 places can cause serious long-term damage and shouldn't happen again. He emphasized that the physical and mental cost of combat sports usually isn't worth the financial rewards and attention, pushing Paul to prioritize his future well-being over chasing even bigger name opponents. Rogan warned him about the real price of repeated head trauma, including possible brain issues and depression down the road, and suggested he should seriously think about stepping away from boxing while he can still walk away healthy.
Bro, he got hit with a bomb. Breaks his jaw in 2 places. The thing is, I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great and he's only, whatever he is, 28. There's a price that you pay that is not worth it. And that price is a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. That was real damage. The inside of your head. There's a lot of damage going on in there too. If he doesn't have your respect after that fight, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He's got nothing but respect from me.
Do you think Jake Paul's fights are really scripted, or is it all hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments.